Hi, hi. I'm just walking. I'm gonna lift next. But, kind of been in a little bit of a mood today. Kind of been in a little bit of a mood for a little while, really. I don't know if you all have been able to tell, just off my posts and things. Been feeling a little bit more, I want to say, aggressive, because that's kind of how it feels. And so I just sat in my car, for a good 5 minutes just now, thinking of exactly what the live stream title was going to be. Because it feels like I have a bunch of stuff swirling around in my head, but really, I don't really have too much swirling actually happening. But I found myself trying to think of like a clever little title, but really what's been on my heart lately and what I've been noticing lately is just all the depression type symptoms in people, and even in myself, just kind of noticing like what kind of makes me feel that and go there and all that kind of stuff. And then of course, like as always, I don't want to pass off like this is medical advice or anything, like I have all the answers, but I just wanted to tell you some of my observations. I think maybe I found a place to sit that kind of looks cool. So, found a tree. I like trees. Part of the reason, and I've said this in other videos, that I go outside so much is essentially like I kind of have the belief that the more you put yourself in nature, and especially since like blue and green are like calming colors, I actually go outside like every day, just kind of like specifically as a little bit of outdoor therapy stuff. So the topic is what causes my depression. And of course there's like some heavy like trauma based stuff, but I'm not really talking about that right now. I'm kind of more talking about just the kind of day-to-day feeling of it, because I've been struggling with that just a little bit this week, just kind of that feeling, and I've been trying to identify it. And I went and talked with Barbara. I talk with her bi-weekly. She's my psychotherapist, so every other week I go see her, and she kind of helps me to sort things out. Like I usually tell her kind of exactly what's going on and my response to it, and she makes sure that everything's kind of going. She asks me very, helpful questions a lot of the time. So I wrapped up the second 5-day live training in my Dream, Decide, Do program, and I've been putting out a lot of stuff for that. And so inside of the group has been awesome. Like all the ladies inside the group that have participated, it's been like totally a validating experience inside the group, and I'm really actually pretty more than happy with it, really, because I put out Loving Her, which was my book, and there was a free 5-day live training that went with that. And then we kicked off Dream, Decide, Do, and then I invited some ladies, and I turned that like into a paid program. So the thing that's kind of been circling me right now is I feel like work to me, like a lot of my work, especially the stuff with Loving Her and Dream, Decide, Do, I was telling Barbara that it feels like art to me, and she kind of asked me to clarify that. And so I told her that it just feels like I've had hundreds and hundreds of hours of training and education, And I've spent, and I told her, like, outside of college, there's a fly, outside of college, if you count up just any extra training that I've taken for certifications, and even beyond certifications, like even I took lots of courses on like relationships. I've taken a lot of courses on like online marketing and things. And so kind of what I feel like, especially since I'm an artistic person and a writer and I love to paint and do all those things, that these programs, and I love to teach, these programs end up feeling like they come from my soul, really. And so I was kind of disheartened a little bit. I get disheartened sometimes when I talk to other entrepreneurs, because they're very money focused, as they should be. And of course, like, I'm money focused as well. But money doesn't actually motivate me. So that's kind of been the theme with me and Barbara, is that what is actually motivating me right now to create like this. And so I went back and forth with her about it, and I kind of talked to her about what other people in my industry have been saying to me, and then even just one of the last things that my coach said to me, actually. One of the last things he asked me was like how the online training stuff was going, and like he asked me about revenue and stuff like that. And there's a very strategic way you're supposed to kind of go at online marketing, and I haven't done any of that. I've actually kind of like rebelled against that purposefully. And I follow a couple people, and I've bought courses from a couple people that are doing it sort of the way that I want to do it, only it's a little bit more slow going. So he was asking me really good, like, valid questions, especially according to like a lot of the training that I've taken. He's like asking me like who my target audience is. And so sometimes I hesitate to even talk to him about it, because I know that what I'm doing with Loving Her and with Dream Decide Do is a little bit different, because I'm going to do it like anyway regardless, because I feel like it comes like from inside of me. So it was a little bit of a ramble, but also I just kind of wanted to be honest with just like kind of how my mood does kind of shift along with work and what kind of things are going on. And so like the last time I talked to my coach I just was honest with them. I said, well, my target audience is like broke women, like physically broken and usually financially broken women, is what I told him. And he just like kind of looked at me like, and he said, well, maybe you should pick a different target audience. And that's very good business advice. Like, that's very good business advice. But what I talked with Barbara about, and why it's good for me to have two different people in my life with two different perspectives, was about the two mentors in particular that are on the internet. They put out a vast amount of free content. In the online marketing world, there's one side of it that thinks that people will not value themselves enough to actually make change unless they've spent a chunk of money. Like a chunk. Like, that's what invests them. And a lot of trainers feel like that too. Like, the sales training for personal trainers is largely based around making people invest in themselves, because until people invest financially in themselves, the idea is that they're not going to change. Like, it won't, hurt enough to actually make this change. So like when you're doing a sales thing, you try to get them to buy a package, because the investment financially in that package will lead them to follow through. Okay, so that's kind of the idea. So I have that on one end. I have all of that in there. And then I have this other side of it where the art feels like it's in me. And the other side of it also where I was a broke woman physically and mentally. I've been that person. Jacob's dad left, and he's been starting to ask me a lot of questions. So that sucked. That sucks. I hate it. Because it hurts him, even though it's been over since pretty much he was born. So when the relationship ended, I had just quit my full-time job as a teacher at a college. I was teaching for the associate's degree program for a personal training school. And I had decided, I had just had Jacob, I was in what I thought was a good marriage, and I thought that now was the time to like go out on my own and do like my personal training business. So all of that fell apart in January of 2013. Jacob was only 7 months old, and all of a sudden I was alone. And not only was I was alone, but I was alone, and I was only working a part-time gym management job. That's when I was at Snap Fitness. So if you guys remember 2013, when I was posting all that fitness stuff and trying to, you know, make my trainer happen, that's when my trainer started. I was making $14 an hour, and I was only working, it was like 20, it wasn't 30 hours, because then they would have had to give me health insurance, but I didn't have health insurance, and I was making $14 an hour for that chunk of time. And then I was running between 2 gyms, because I was also at, can't figure out the sun, I was also at Fitness Quest as their assistant manager, but I wasn't getting paid for that. I was doing that work in exchange for essentially in exchange for free rent. So I had a certain much a manager stuff to do, and then that meant that I didn't have to pay rent by the hour for a certain number of hours when I actually had clients. So that was the situation. And I was trying to figure out daycare, and God bless Becky, if she's watching, and Miss Laura, because Becky and Miss Laura, Becky first, and then Miss Laura watched Jacob for me before he started going to pre-K. So I took a number of free trainings. I took hundreds of, I want to say hundreds, it feels like hundreds. I took gobs of free trainings. I soaked up every single free training that I could, because I was desperate to be the person that you guys see today. So 2018 Maile is much different than 2013 Maile. So when I was 18, I had this vision of a health and wellness ministry, and that's what I wanted to do with my life. And all I knew at that time was that I was going to go to school, and that I was going to get my exercise science degree, and that I was going to come out, and then I was like, you know, going to save the world. And I still kind of struggle, and we talk about in Loving Her and in Dream Decide Do, like having a hero complex and wanting to save the world at the expense of ourselves. So I don't go down that road anymore. But there's a ministry inside, there's art inside, there's a culmination of just like getting out of like a pit, and that whole notion that you have to pay money before you'll actually invest in yourself and change yourself. I just want to call bullshit on that. Okay? And I haven't publicly said I want to call bullshit on that, but like, I'm a product right now. All of the online stuff that you have seen started with like free programs. So with all of that said, none of the ladies in Loving Her and none of the ladies in Dream Decide Do have paid me anything. But the work inside of the group has been like life-changing for me. I don't know if you guys have noticed like just how much different that I am than just a few weeks ago, like how much stronger I am. And so what I talked with Barbara about was how Dream Decide Do really is selfish, in a sense that it's me actually living out like what lots of my friends and mentors have known, like that's been on my heart for a really long time. And that's reaching out to women and helping them get out of just bondage. There's a card that I put out, and that's like my cover page on my personal page, is do I have the soul of a slave or of a free woman? Okay, so that's kind of like the running theme right now. So I made Dream Decide Do like a private group, and the only reason I made Dream Decide Do and Loving Her like a private group is because I didn't want like outside people coming in and jacking around with the live streams and the conversations, which can happen sometimes on some of these live trainings. People can come in and kind of mess with the speaker while they're trying to talk. So that's why everything has kind of been private thus far. And so like what I've decided, just with everything that's on my heart that I kind of just said, and with just how it feels to kind of have it all be private, I've actually decided that the audios, this next time around, there's going to be another training in October. I'm going to go ahead and make everything public, and I'm going to launch it public. And then I'm still going to have the group though, so that we can have a private place to talk though. But I'm not going to be so concerned about people popping on a live stream and then messing with us. If it happens, then it happens, but I think we'll be okay. So I just wanted to kind of give you the backstory of like where I am right now, and then let you know like where Dream Decide Do is going. So I'm going to backtrack and start publishing in like a sequence from start to finish between now and then, like all of the past recordings, in case people want to catch up. And then ladies will have access like to the Facebook groups, because I think there's some valid, helpful things that guys could maybe pick up from some of it. It doesn't all have to be like lady stuff. Because I've had some guys like asking me if I'm going to do like a training where they can listen into. So I'm going to start relaunching everything just in preparation for our training. And then our next training, I believe it's October 10th. So October 11th, 12th, and 13th. It should be a Wednesday. I hope it's not October 12th. I'm going to look again and see which day it actually is. But that's when we're going to go live with Do. So it's been Loving Her, has led us into Dream, has led us into Decide, and then is going to lead us into Do. And just as a quick kind of like tidbit, the Do part is going to be like doing the things that you want to do. So we have a dream, we've decided we're doing the dream, and then we're going to do it. So we're going to be talking about self-discipline, courage, and we're also going to be building our calendar. So I'm going to help you guys build a calendar that's specific to the things that you want to be doing in your life. Okay? So the main takeaway, I guess, on what causes depression in me is having other people come over me and tell me, a lot in the past even, have people come in over my work and tell me their thoughts in a way that limits what my original vision was. So my original vision for this was to speak to broke women, broken women, women that were just like me in 2013, and get you up out of there, okay? Because other people did that for me, and some of the most life-changing stuff for me I didn't even pay for. And now I pay for things. Now I pay hundreds of dollars a month for things, for trainings. But I wasn't able to do that at first. And part of it was like a mental block, but part of it was really legitimate stuff. So the idea, and what I was telling Barbara, is this is a long game for me, really. Okay? I already have a full-time job that's really pretty great, where I serve pretty wealthy people. Okay? But I have all this other stuff in here that I want to be doing and that I want to be sharing with you. So anytime that I stop sharing or don't put it out there because I feel like I'm not doing it right according to like internet marketing rules, or because maybe I should pick a different target audience because my target audience is wrong to be successful, just as a reminder, I wouldn't be here without the free trainings that my mentors put out. So it's super awesome to get like private messages from you. A good number of people send me private messages. So if you ever want to send me a private message, that's cool. But just know that I will be working on that stuff, and you're going to see me actually launching like the full-length videos and audios, like taking them off of being private, and they're going to be public so that you can share them with whoever. Okay? Alright. Love you guys.